Hello, everyone. My name is Lexi, and this is the Sincerely Self podcast. If you're watching the YouTube, I changed my hair again. What do we think? I cannot stick to one hair color. I change my hair a lot. So, we're back to brunette. I have brown hair, like chocolate brown hair right now, and I'm kind of loving it. So, for today, we are going to be covering a topic with just me. However, if you have been following the Instagram, I posted, this will be uploaded on the weekend, so I posted on Wednesday that I have a lot of collabs that are coming within November and December, and I am so excited. I've been able to have some meetings in regards to the podcast, which is like, what? Like, what? Meetings. Okay. I never thought that would happen, but it's getting really exciting. So if you listen to the podcast every once in a while, if you listen every week, just know I love you and I appreciate you so much. And I'm so glad that you enjoy this podcast and love it as much as I do. It's like my little baby. So I love that it's been helping people. Today, we're going to be covering a topic that I did a poll on my Instagram. So if you're not following Instagram, you should be following it. It's linked in my the description of the episodes. I put my Instagram, my TikTok, I feel like I give this rundown every episode, so I won't jump into it. But on the Instagram, I did a poll and just asked you guys to let me know what subjects you want to hear on the podcast. One of the topics that I saw that was submitted was managing anxiety. And something I wanted to add into that was overthinking, because I feel like a lot of times those two things just kind of go hand in hand. And so first, here's the debrief of what we're going to do. First, we're going to address anxiety as a whole, then anxiety attacks, and then overthinking. Okay? We have a little rundown, we have a little order in this episode. So let's get right into the anxiety. I do want to preface this by saying, because you guys know I love the transparency. I love telling you guys if I've struggled with something similar and just being super open and honest, because at the same time, it's like, why would you take advice from somebody who's never dealt with that certain thing? You know what I mean? So for me, I have been diagnosed with severe anxiety, and I pretty much remember having it most of my life. I've been a very anxious person, and so for me, anxiety has just always been a part of who I was. I used to kind of downplay it. And then when I was about 19, I think, my anxiety really just kind of reached a peak. I was having anxiety attacks almost every single day. It kind of got to the point, like, I would have to pull over because I would be having one. And it got to the point where I didn't even really know what to do anymore. I've been on and off medication, and I've tried just about anything you can think of to manage my anxiety. And so through my journey with anxiety, I'm going to tell you guys the things that I found that really, really helped me. Because I do want to preface, I am not on any medication for my anxiety anymore or my depression. And I feel like I have it pretty good. I mean, obviously, I still have bad days. Those things never, ever go away. I do want to say, like, right at the front of this, you can find ways to cope with anxiety and depression, but they are never, ever going to fully go away. And although that statement sounds so, like, dreadful, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be bad all the time, and you don't have to have it consume your life. So I just want to say, even when you're doing really, really good, you will still have bad days, and that's okay. I think that's just part of being human, and something that I like to tell myself when I've been doing really good with my anxiety, and then suddenly I just plummet and I'm starting to have my anxiety attacks again and all of those things. I just remind myself, you cannot have the really, really good without the really, really bad. You can't appreciate those positive emotions unless you have the negative ones. And so it's just a balance, and there's never ever just going to be a constant high of good and nothing bad ever happening. You have to have the balance. So that's something that I tell myself in those circumstances. But let's jump into the coping mechanisms that I have found have worked for me with anxiety. So the first thing is finding what calms me down. Finding your calm. Finding your calm means just figuring out what it is that helps calm you down. So for me, when I am feeling really, really anxious, something that helps calm me down is going to the gym. And the reason I kind of got into going to the gym is because of my anxiety. When I'm having a really, really anxious day, I can go to the gym and it will help me feel a lot better. Something else that sometimes helps me is listening to music, like calming music, okay? Nothing too crazy. Like I'll listen to like The Neighborhood or Janae Aiko, and I'm going to bring that up in a second. But I like listening to music that just is pretty calm and laid back. Just finding a hobby of yours that releases that serotonin in your brain so it kind of calms your nervous system down, because anxiety is being stuck constantly in fight or flight mode. So all of your emotions and your adrenaline are always at a peak. You're always in fear of something happening to you. And so if you can kick yourself out of that fight or flight mode, the anxiety is going to calm down. So if you find something that brings you joy, you could draw, you could paint, you could dance, go to the gym, go for a walk. Going for a walk is really, really good because it's also a grounding exercise. Grounding is just something that makes you feel more present. It's like a mindfulness thing. Mindfulness just means like to be present. So going for a walk is really good. It is kind of sucky because in Utah right now the weather is horrible. It's already winter time. It's like 40 degrees out. Like what? Last week it was like 60. I'm not going to get into it. But going for a walk is really good, and just anything that you love to do. Something that will bring the serotonin into your brain and help calm you down in those moments of anxiety. The next thing that I have is breath work. So the one that has helped me the most, that I use the most, is box breathing. So you're going to breathe in on a count of 4, hold it for 4, breathe out on a count of 4, and hold it for 4. And just do that. And I love that because if I'm having anxiety in a public space, it really, really helps calm me down. Because for me, public, like really crowded places started triggering my anxiety around the same time I started having my anxiety attacks pretty bad. So for me, like grocery stores stress me out, parties stress me out, any crowded area really, really makes me feel anxious. And box breathing, like, I don't know, nobody can tell that you're doing your box breathing unless they're like watching you breathe, which would be strange. So doing the box breathing really helps calm your nervous system as well. The whole point of these coping mechanisms is to calm your nervous system. That's what's going to help with your anxiety, okay? So I'm going to be referencing that a lot, but any sort of breath work you can do. I work in the schools, and so something that they do sometimes is you have to blow a balloon. They were like an invisible balloon. You have to fill up the balloon. So you're taking a slow breath in and breathing it out. Sometimes they'll tell the kids to blow bubbles. Literally anything. There's rainbow breathing too. I'm thinking of like the ones that we do in the schools, but I love them. I do them myself. I did a sales job during the summer, but we actually did a lot of calming exercises like breath work. And something that one of my managers had told us, there was this breathing exercise that we did occasionally, and he told us that it kind of resets your nervous system. So I'm going to demonstrate it. And if you're not watching the podcast, this is going to probably sound a little bit strange, but I'll explain it. Basically, you're going to breathe in and out, in and out, in and out very sharply. And you're sitting, like I'm sitting, my legs are straight. I don't have my legs crossed. And I have one of my hands is holding the microphone. My other hand is on my leg. And I'm going to breathe in and out kind of sharply, like with my mouth. Okay, you might have to watch the YouTube for this part, unless you kind of understand what I'm saying. But I'm going to breathe sharply in and out, in and out, in and out. And then you might feel a little bit lightheaded, but it's literally just resetting your nervous system and you will feel better. So I can't remember the exact amount of time that you're supposed to do it for. I believe it's 30 seconds. And I'm going to demonstrate it. I don't know if I should move the microphone away or if I should hold it closer. It literally looks insane, okay? I look insane. I maybe wouldn't do that one in public if I were you. So, but that is the one you do. I'm not going to do it for the full 30 seconds. I don't think any of us want to just witness me doing that for 30 seconds straight, but you will literally start feeling lightheaded, and that's kind of how you know that it is working. And that's another thing that can help you when, specifically if you're having an anxiety attack. But if you're feeling a little bit anxious, that one could help as well. Okay, I said I was going to talk about Janae Aiko, and that's because there's a specific song that I listen to when I'm having anxiety. And I remember I used to live with one of my friends at the time, and she was struggling with anxiety as well and panic attacks. And one time when she was having a panic attack, I played this song for her and it helped her as well. So that's why I'm going to share this with you guys. She told me that it had meant a lot to her as well and really, really helped her out of that mode of being in the panic attack. And it's Janae Aiko's protection mantra, and it has sound bowls in it, and it just has the most calming frequency, and it just has calming affirmations like, I am protected, I am safe, like calm down. And it's Janae Aiko's voice, which is so soothing. And so when I'm really anxious, I will listen to that protection mantra a lot. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, all of them. And it really, really helps calm me down as well. So I will link the YouTube. I'm going to link the YouTube for that because not everybody has Spotify for the protection mantra. So if you want to listen to that, I will have it linked in the description of this episode, wherever you're listening to it at. And you should go check that out. It is beautiful. And I promise you, it'll help you calm down when you are feeling anxious. The next thing is kind of like a mindset thing. It's just reminding yourself what you are in control of in that moment. So if you're anxious about a past situation or a future situation, or just worrying about the what ifs, or what if it goes this way, or what if this happens, or what if they decide this, what is in your control right now? If you're worrying about the decision on a job, that's not in your control right now. That's not something that you control right now. What you can control is how you're hyper focusing on it. So go and distract yourself so you're not thinking about it. Or if you're anxious about if somebody's going to break up with you, that decision at that moment is not in your control. So is it something you should be worrying about? No. You need to go and change what you're focusing on. A lot of time, anxiety is caused by just what we are focusing on in the moment. So if you can switch your focus into something else, it will ease your anxiety. These are a couple mantras that I tell myself as well. When I'm feeling really anxious is I am okay, I am safe, everything is happening exactly how it's supposed to be, and God is watching out for me. I don't talk much about, I talk about like higher power and God a little bit, but I will say that you just need to trust God's plan. God has a plan that has been laid out for you. And if you're not religious, like, I'm not going to get super into this in this episode. I would love to talk about my journey with God and religion and all of that, but God has a plan that is laid out for you, and you are always on that plan. When I say everything is happening for a reason, I mean everything is happening according to God's plan, and God would not give you anything that you could not handle. There's a reason that we all have different trials and we all have different things that we struggle with, and it's because that's what God knows that we can handle. So if something is happening to you, it's because God knows that you can overcome it, and it's going to make you stronger in some way. So tell yourself to trust God's plan and trust in God. That everything, or if you don't believe in God, trusting in higher power, trusting in the universe, that everything is going according to plan. That's all I'm going to really say about the anxiety portion of it. We're going to jump into the overthinking. So the first thing, I am somebody who severely overthinks almost every single day about everything. I'm overthinking constantly any single move I make, any single conversation I have, any interaction I have with anybody. Honestly, I am overthinking. So when you're overthinking something, a possible outcome, let's say, for example, ask yourself, is this true? Or is this something that my brain is telling me? Because our brain will tell us a lot of things that are not true, and it's just our fear, right? It's just our fear trying to predict what's going to happen because we have that fear of the unknown. So overthinking a lot of the time is just trying to cope with the fact that you don't know what's going to happen, and from your anxiety, you just come up with the worst case scenario. So we need to rewire our brain to think of the best case scenario, because words are power, and what you think creates your reality. And I'm not saying that in a way to make you feel pressure for what you're thinking. I'm telling you that in a way that you should feel powerful, and you should feel like you have control of your overthinking. You do. And it is hard, but me telling you that your thoughts create your reality is me telling you that you have the power to control how you view that outcome. Just reminding yourself, why do you think that? Is it true, or is your brain just telling you that? Instead of telling yourself all the bad things that can happen, as soon as you notice those starting to happen, like, oh, they're not going to hire me, I'm never going to get this job. Is this true, or is this something that you're thinking? Another thing I think is, who told you that? Who told you, like, right after your job interview that you weren't going to have it? Unless they, like, told you that. Like, who told you that? Or who told you that your boyfriend's going to break up with you just because his tone of voice changed? Oh, I just clocked myself. Who told you that? Nobody, okay? You're literally just trying to overthink, okay? Sometimes, especially if you have anxiety, your body gets stuck in fight or flight. So it's constantly looking for something to keep you in that fight or flight mode, subconsciously. So that's what overthinking comes from a lot of the time, especially negative overthinking, is the fear of just not knowing. So if you can tell yourself, like, who told you that? Oh, nobody told me that. It's literally just my brain. Okay, awesome. And being able to say, you know what? I felt very, very confident in that job interview, and I really did my best. And I'm just trusting that however that's supposed to turn out is how it will turn out. And if it's not meant for me, then something better will show up in my life. Or I have no reason to believe that my boyfriend's going to break up with me, but you know what? If he does, then I'm just hoping that whatever situation leaves my life is only going to be replaced by something that is better and something that fits my life better. The next thing that I use to help with overthinking is asking for help. Sometimes when you're overthinking a situation and you only have your thoughts on it, sometimes talking to friends, family that you can talk to and just be like, hey, this is something that I'm struggling with. And sometimes getting somebody else's insight on it is like, okay, yeah, you're right. I sound a little bit crazy. Okay, maybe there was no reason I needed to overthink that. Thank you. Sometimes that can help you, just getting somebody else's insight from somebody that you love, preferably, and somebody that loves you, because they're going to tell you it in an honest, but in a loving way. Like, hey, girl, you really are just overthinking that. I don't think it's going to go that way. Another thing that I'll do is I'll write it down. I'll write down exactly what I'm overthinking, and then I'll read it back to myself. And usually 9 times out of 10, when I do that, I'm like, what? That sounds ridiculous. What? And then I know, like, okay, well, there was genuinely no reason for me to be overthinking that. And now I can try to move on from it by using my hobbies or listening to music, just trying to do something else. Now we're going to kind of move into the panic attacks, because that's something that is so scary when it's happening. It literally feels like you're dying. And I'm not kidding with that. Panic attacks are so, so scary. And so if you're somebody who struggles with panic attacks, I really admire you, and I just want you to know you're a lot stronger than you think. So when I'm struggling in a panic attack, there is really no reasoning with yourself in that moment, right? All you can do is try and do something to remember where you are in the moment, because your head is spinning with so many different things. So let's use my water, for example. I'll be like, my water jug is pink and has cherries on it, and I'll drink some water. Or I describing things that are around me. I have a notebook in front of me. My notebook is black. I wrote on it with black pen, my favorite pen. My handwriting's low-key a little bit. I'm just grounding myself in the moment of where I am right now. Another thing you can do is, if you have anything that's weighted, like a weighted blanket, or if you don't have anything that's weighted, getting a hug from somebody. Just some sort of compression can really, really help you when you're in a panic attack, because it makes you feel safe. So getting a hug from somebody, or wrapping a few blankets around yourself, or holding a few pillows on your body can really help you kind of calm down and realize where you are. And just the main thing that helps you in a panic attack is remembering where you are and being in the present moment. Also remembering to breathe. That's a good time to bring in the breath work and overall, just reminding yourself that this is not going to last forever. I'm not dying. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. Literally, just telling yourself, I am going to be okay. And you will be able to slowly but surely get through these panic attacks. Hey guys, I'm gonna end this episode here because low-key, this one's a little bit long. Okay, the last couple have not, well, the ones I usually do by myself are never too long. So I'm sorry. I hope you guys were doing something cool. Some people have told me they listen to the podcast on their way to work, which I love. This one, unless you have a long drive to work, it might not make it the whole time, but to and from work, I bet you could finish it in that time period, or during a workout, or maybe listen to this to help you calm down. I don't know. Maybe it could help you. I don't know. So if you are new to the podcast, make sure that you subscribe if you're watching this on the YouTube, or you click the follow button on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, so that you will get notified anytime I upload an episode. It is usually on Fridays, occasionally on Saturdays, but always on the weekend and every single week. And you're not going to want to miss out because I have a lot of special guests who are coming on the podcast in the next few weeks. And we're talking about some really exciting things. And I know you guys are going to want to hear it. So you got to make sure that you are following the podcast so that you don't miss out on those things. Like always, all of my other links will be in the description of the episode so that you can go check out any of my social medias, anything else with the podcast. And also, like I said, if I mention a song, if I mention a book, I always put it in the description so that you guys can go and find it and it can help you out. And overall, I just want to say, if you suffer with anxiety and depression and panic attacks, I am here for you. It's a really, really hard thing, but remember, you are only given the trials that you can handle, and you're a really, really strong person. And I know that you can use this to make yourself a stronger person. And I am going to just leave it at that. So I will see you guys next week.